Where is the last place you've been where you felt completely out of place?
Specifically?
Mm, I don't think I'm gonna get too specific with my response.
Okay. Well, I think when I felt out of place, I was in a meeting and I was the only one of me in there.
Hmm.
And they were talking about things that were my role adjacent, but not like there was a trickle down effect, but I wouldn't see it for two or three processes. So I had no idea what they were talking about. And it was my first time being there.
Hmm.
And they called on me and said, "Hey, Leah, do you have anything to add?" They were like, "Welcome, it's your first time here. Do you have anything to add?" And I was like, "No, not at this time. Thank you."
Just learning the process. Just observing. Okay, okay. I have to answer the question now, don't I?
Yes, you do.
All right. I think it probably goes back to when I was ooh, yeah. Okay, actually. I was gonna go back to when I had the legislative internship in
Hmm.
2012. But no, actually it was a summer, the summer where I did the temp work. You remember that? Where I did it for one day. So in between semesters, adjuncts don't get classes in the summer. I'm like, hey, I'll collect unemployment and I'll because adjuncts are entitled to that. If you fire us for the summer, we get that. But I decided to go to a temp agency, and I went to the temp agency. They hooked me up at some legislative office or something, and I felt out of place because one, I was the only black person there, and two, it was like I had gone from teaching to literally sitting at a table stapling and like putting together packets. And for some reason, one staple click, I was like, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm not supposed to be here right now. And so I finished the day and I got home. And then that morning or the next morning, I emailed. No, actually, when I got home, I emailed the representative that was working with me at the temp agency. I was like, "Yeah, this is not a good fit for me." And she called me. She was like, "What do you mean this isn't gonna look good for me?" I was like, "I don't care. I don't
That
really
has
care.
nothing to do with me. I'm just letting you know.
Like you knew my skill set and you put me there to staple stuff. Not even talking about the task itself. It was boring. That was the real problem I had with it. I don't like sitting still. So I'm actually fidgeting right now as my feet are bouncing and stuff. So thank you for letting me do the icebreaker this time.
Yeah, it's good to change things up because we have to be prepared for, unexpected circumstances.
I
Yes.
guess. I guess.
Hey everyone, welcome, and welcome back. Those who have been here before. My name is Leah, and I'm the host of Take a Space podcast. And today we are joined by Jason, who is helping us with this series to really dive into more of what uh, I have been doing essentially since the podcast has been going on. Um, but thank you so much, Jason, for being on. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me on. This is what, 3 weeks now?
Yes.
We have consistency. What is
Oh my
that
gosh.
for me? Look at you keeping me on track on Monday nights.
Sir, this is every Friday. I'm just like, I don't think he wants to, but I'll send out what I have gotten. So, for those who don't know,
Did you
because
see my rider
obviously
this time? I'm sorry, I
I
didn't mean to
did.
interrupt you. Okay, you did. Okay, good.
See, you're right.
I sent her a rider this time. I wanted green M&Ms. What was it? Two Sprites, two 1 liter
Oh,
Sprites, and I think some Popeyes chicken strips.
I
But
was just like, I don't think I'm not okay. I mean, you can request it.
it's
I don't know
on
if it's going to be fulfilled, but you can
for the
request it.
stars. And if you get a rock, that's enough, right? It's deep.
Mm.
About as deep as your tear ducts. So think about that for a minute. But yeah,
Well, welcome to the show, everyone.
yeah.
It's what I have learned in this process of being consistent, and especially because before I started like four sentences right there. Let me start over. Before,
You got a lot to say.
I had a list of episodes that were pre-recorded already. I had contacted tens and tens of guests and said, "Hey, let's record an episode together. All these people were willing to do it. So we had series after series after series. But when it came time to showing up for myself to actually do the podcast with just me, very little consistency at all. So Jason and I were talking about it, and Jason said, "What can I do to help you be successful?" And I was like,
Which I've realized that that
"Oh,
is actually more effective. I know that's not what we're going to talk about today, but I've realized that that's more effective than asking people like, "Do you need help?" or "How can I help you?"
yes,
Just asking like, "Okay, what can I do to take something off you?" So I ask my students that. I ask my mom that when she's dealing with stuff, when she's working with stuff. Like, okay, what can I do to just take one task off your table? And it seems like for us, at least from the way I'm receiving it, this is helping you just so that you're staying on track of things, and it's just like that accountability partner type thing.
yes."
Okay, good.
It absolutely is. And there were so the first time we recorded, it was fine, it was great.
Mhm.
And we sat on the phone for a couple of hours
Yeah, it had
and
been a
just
minute.
like, yeah, we caught up and everything because we hadn't talked in like a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
And
it was an
so
hour before, and then it was an hour of recording, and or probably an hour and a half or hour 20 minutes or something of recording, and then it was like an hour after where we were just chopping it up basically.
right. And then for some reason, because I get in my own head, I am thinking like, even though we've been friends for 14 years, it's still a
Yep,
thing in
same.
my brain of he's an introvert. He's not going to want to talk to me again. Like he needs a break from me for about 3 months, and
Or
then I'll
less.
ask him again for help and things like that. And this is almost decade and a half of friendship, and I'm
Mhm.
still putting assumptions on you as to what you're capable of doing, knowing that you're a full grown person and able to say no.
Mhm.
And what I have done to kind of take that pressure off of me from always asking, "Hey, when are you available?" Jason gave me his schedule and said, "These are the days that I can record." I
Mhm.
said, "Okay, great." So, what has helped to prevent me from having to deal directly with that rejection is just sending an invite. I'll send an invite for like Monday night or like Friday evening or Saturday or whatever. I'll send an invite and he can reply yes or no if he can make that time.
Mhm.
And and so I'll go back and check. Like I'll check the day after I send it. I'll check the day of to make sure there's no
Mhm.
changes. Make sure
Yeah,
he
and I
doesn't do
start
anything.
for me, I start freaking out like, okay, did I actually hit the right button? Because sometimes with the email notifications, if you hit the wrong button with Google for accepting the thing, it won't go through to the actual calendar. It'll just
Right.
add it to your calendar. Um, but yeah, I'm glad that's helping you. To be fair, I based on prior behaviors, that's how I was before, where it was like if I had too much socialization, then I would need extra time to recharge. So
Yes.
it's not like she's created this scenario out of thin air. I've gotten better with socializing in like longer periods or through longer periods as I was teaching and stuff because I've become more extroverted since I started teaching.
That
So
is true.
to be fair, it's only been like maybe 5 or 6 years. Yeah, 6 years, 5 or 6 years. Oh my god, almost 7 years actually. Um, ooh, wow, 6 or 7 years that the pattern has started to shift, and I'm gonna have my existential crisis.
But we haven't been in the same state,
Right?
like living in the same state for about that long.
Imagine this
Yeah.
summer when I come out there because I'm planning it, and I'm already looking at like day trips and stuff where I can take like to Mount Rainier and stuff.
Hmm.
Imagine when we record in the same space.
Oh
Are
my
we actually
gosh.
gonna imagine when we take up the same space?
It's gonna be wild.
Right?
It's gonna be wild. Like
Weird. Don't
I
worry, I'll
don't,
describe the smell of her home to you guys, so you guys will know what's what.
it's like
So
coconut and
next week.
vanilla. That's what's in the air right now.
Okay.
Well, pasta's in the air right now, so it's a lot of pasta sauce and garlic,
Smells like a
maybe.
restaurant. Like a
Yeah,
restaurant.
that's
Coconut, vanilla, pasta.
yeah. That's what it is. But I think that it's important that you kind of know your circle because I think everybody
Mhm.
needs to have that good balance, of being able to say what they need. And because I feel that a lot of times people don't ask for what they need for fear of the need not being fulfilled. And that's why it's good to know what you need, and being able to say, hey, I'm able to speak directly to this thing that I need, or being able to say that I have this project and seeing who is willing to step up. And if they're not, being okay with you having to do it on your own. But I don't think that hyper independence leads to great success.
Yeah, especially with something like this, honestly, because it can easily become just a sort of monotonous echo chamber type thing where you're just sort of going over the same perspectives and stuff because it's only your perspective.
Right.
So after a while, it could get kind of, even if you're just like, even if I wasn't recording with you, just talking with me about whatever you want to talk about, just to bounce ideas off somebody, that can change the entire scope. So yeah, if you are like super independent and you're just like, I'm doing a podcast by myself, for myself, through myself, just completely independent, I could see how that would be. It doesn't, one, it doesn't sound like you. That doesn't sound on brand for
No, it doesn't.
Ladage.
Oh my gosh. It's funny because I still use that name. I
Oh.
still use that name. Um, I think I think that knowing that about myself, knowing that that's not really who I am, and going against that really defeats the whole purpose of taking up space. It really defeats that. Trying to assimilate to what society deems as pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and
Yeah.
doing it on your own, and you gotta get it out the mud first of all. My parents worked too hard for me to act like I can get it out the mud.
Right.
like no,
Where we're
no,
starting here.
no. I didn't start from the bottom. Like we rose up. We rose up. And so being able, so knowing, being self-aware, and then also knowing my circle, knowing that I could have this conversation. Some people just let me vent, some people offered advice, and some people actually one person stepped up to actually record. So it's been just knowing my circle, knowing who I can talk to, who I can let know. And I do find that we as people tend to, until we have someone to kind of break the cycle,
Mhm.
we do tend to think in circular reasoning,
Yeah.
where we keep, we enforce it because we repeat it.
Yeah.
And because we repeat it, it's true because we have enforced it so much.
Hmm.
And so it just becomes, it's hard to break out of that if you don't have anyone to kind of ask a question to make you stop your
To
thinking.
actually intervene
Right.
and change your course. Otherwise, you're just going to keep doing what's comfortable.
Exactly. And you never really question it. And even coming here, and even today, I questioned some of the things that I was doing was right. Not just like my actions that I'm taking in life and things like that, but like clothing. What clothing am I wearing that is conducive to the brand that I want to portray, the persona, the perspective that I want people to have when they see me? How do I want um, my how do I want the podcast to be presented? How do I want my person to be presented? From we make decisions every day. And I think that those decisions should come with self awareness. I'm not going to wear something a person who is size 2 is going to wear,
Hmm.
because that's just, it's not going to flatter me the same. And so I have to make sure that I know who I am, know what's going to look great on me, and what's going to accentuate. Like, I'm not going to be a person who's going to be teaching math
Hmm.
if I know that I'm great at public speaking. Like, I'm gonna be on the speaker side. Like,
Say
let
the
me
damn word.
give me the words. I can do numbers sometimes, but only to a certain level.
Right.
Like, listen, I can balance a checkbook. That's the important thing.
My bills are paid. Everything. I'm bringing in more than I'm losing, so I know I'm doing something right. Do not challenge me with long division. I'm sorry. That's where I
Oh
draw the line.
gosh.
You challenge me with long division, I'm going to ask you to teach me APA formatting or MLA formatting or Chicago style or something. I'm going to attack you if you attack me.
Chicago style is so weird.
It does, and it goes by two names: Chicago
Oh,
style or Turabian, I think it's called Terubian or something like that.
don't do that to me.
Yeah, it
Don't do that to
doesn't
me.
make sense. And then it's always
Who
just
uses
thrown
Chicago
in.
style?
History tends to use it because it allows for footnotes and stuff, or like you have to have footnotes with it. With
Oh.
MLA, I'm teaching crap. With MLA, you can have footnotes, but it's not as conventional. It's like if you have like a longer essay or something, where
Mm.
footnotes might work. But for the most part, Turabian and maybe APA allows footnotes, but Turabian is so completely like you have to use like superscript and stuff in Turabian, so you have to know all the toggles and stuff. Like
That's not my jam. No,
just teach the kids MLA or APA, depending on what field they're going in. Those are the only two they're
I
going to use.
I
Nobody's
don't
going to
want
be a
it.
journalist at this point. Sorry, journalist or formerly trained journalist. I'm sorry, but yeah, that idea of interrupting just thought processes is something that it is uncomfortable, and it sounds like you are. It seems like you're at a place, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you're going to throw anybody under the bus with this, but it seems like the people that you approached for any whatever kind of help, you kind of took whatever their response was, and you didn't take it personally. And you're like, okay, I appreciate you considering it or whatever, but I know it's not me, right? You didn't take it personally.
No, of course not. I know my circle well enough to know typically what their interactions are going to do. Like, not that it's scripted out or anything.
Yeah.
It did take me by surprise that you were willing to step in. Like that part took me by surprise a little bit. That's why I was like, are you sure?
When I stepped back, back in what September or whatever, when I started the new
Hmm.
job, when I stepped back, there was a lot going on. Where remember that transitional period
Right.
with all that crap they had messed up, adjusting to the new job, then the stuff with mom's health and stuff,
Hmm.
and just being burnt out. I'm actually less burnt out now, so I'm like,
True.
I have a better understanding of how I can use my energy, which is important for my health stuff that I have going on. But yeah, I know that this works. So thank you for approaching me about it because it's making me step forward again. So thank you for
Mhm.
allowing me to contribute and ask the first question.
Well, you are very welcome. And to be fair, the other people who I did discuss, if those of you who know who you are who are listening, those people who I did discuss it with previously, there was just a conversation of the situation. It wasn't a situation of just like, hey, I need help. Will you help me? And they said no.
Right.
It was more like they asked me questions of where I thought it was going and, if I needed to take a break and if maybe, there was a reason that I wanted to keep it going as opposed to stopping and things like that.
See, I know you don't like to ask for help though. That's why I knew to ask what can I do to help you. Like you sort of were like, so here's where I'm at. I've been trying to record for like an hour, and you went through this whole thing about what that recording process looked like, how emotionally taxing it was, and stuff.
Yes.
And I'm just listening. I'm like, okay, okay. What can I do to make this easier for you? Because for me, it was never an option that you would step away from this and like not upload episodes every week because
Hmm.
I know how much work you put into it and how much work you consistently put into it, and so I'm like, okay, look, if I can't watch wrestling on a Monday night, like watch it live, I mean, on a Monday night so that she can record her podcast and that could be our friend time too, then you can take the hit, Jason. Like, it's okay. It's keeping the show going. The people need to hear what she has to say, and I'm going to see to it that they do.
Ah,
So
that.
repeat that. That's recorded now. So you take that soundbite right there,
Mm, mm,
you put that in your phone. And
mm.
so whenever you think about like, oh, I don't know if he wants to do it, I don't know if he wants to do it, play that back because even if like we told you what happened this weekend, so I was thinking when I was sitting on the couch earlier, I was like, do I feel like it? I have to. I have to do it. We got to keep it going, and I have to keep myself consistent with it too. So it's twofold. So don't question that again. If I need to switch a day or something, I'll let you know. So
Well, that's
I'll
why I
let you
try to
know.
send it out a few days in advance so that
Even if
if
you
you're
send
like,
it
hey,
that morning, then I might be like, oh, hey, can we push it back like an hour or so? But I'm not gonna leave you out there to dry. So send it. It's better if I have it sooner than later, and then that way I can plan around it too. You know I'm a
That's true.
planner. You know how I plan.
I know how you plan. Now, whether or not you're a planner is a very different
Yeah,
conversation.
I'm not like a formal planner. I plan things just in case something goes wrong. Because things go wrong. Case in point, Leah had a 10 to 15-minute fight with her microphone before we started recording.
Just a little bit. It was just a little bit. But the good thing is, my microphone made it almost unscathed.
Did you? Are you okay?
I, you know what? I think I'm good. No scratches or anything. I'm
There's a
good.
microphone sneaking up behind you. Watch out. There's one in the corner. Careful.
It's here. It's good. I think it's good. But I think learning how to break out of that hyper independence, especially if you've been independent for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
it's a practice. It's a real practice. And there's not a it's not it's kind of like healing because it's not linear. You can't just say, well, I've gone through these steps and now
The
I
path.
have right.
Yeah. Do you think that, because I guess the way that independence is framed, just like as a society or in society, it's like, okay, I'm independent, so everything is on my own. When in reality, there should always be some kind of support system and always some kind of anchor, right?
Mhm.
Just different people to anchor you. Do you think that it's like part of the equation is reframing how you view independence? Because you're still independent, but it's just somebody else is just in the mix with you having a conversation about stuff with you. It's not like you're like dependent on me to a certain extent, right?
Well, can we just start here? Anybody who is listening to me right now, I don't want to be independent. I
I don't
don't
either.
I don't want to be independent. Who is going to keep paying bills for the rest of their life? Who is going to keep having to go to work and not just take off because they want to because they have bills?
Mr. Biggs, please,
I
Mr.
do.
Biggs, please.
Let me tell you, I do not, and I don't, and I think that I'm independent to a degree
Mhm.
of I'm capable of I'm capable of autonomy. I think
Yeah.
that's a form of independence, right? But when it comes to my emotional well-being, my mental well-being, my my
Freudian
physical,
slip.
just it be causing so much hell in some people's lives. Oh my gosh. But my spiritual well being, my mental health, my mental well being, and all that other stuff. I think that it's more of a communal thing for
Mhm.
me than just like, well, I can meditate, I can pray, I can worship, I can go on walks, I can write, I can do all these things solo. But my relationship, and for those who don't know, I'm Christian. My relationship with God grows stronger when I grow in my community,
Mhm.
when I get to converse about different scriptures and different things I've learned and experienced in my faith.
Mhm.
My mental health grows exponentially stronger when, like Jason and I have both talked about therapy previously, when we get to exchange tools that we've learned in therapy and we get to ask each other different questions that helps us to break a cycle of thought that we have that we know is like, okay, nope, you're starting to spiral. Let's go back to the beginning.
Pull it
Let's
back in. Rein
Yeah,
it in.
because even Jason brought up previously that I the first time after Kayla left, I tried to record for like an hour, hour and a half, and I had to just stop recording and call Jason and just tell him I can't. There's no way that I can move forward with this because, as Jason pointed out previously, I was attempting to unpack some heavy emotional trauma during that episode that led to it started off as something small, like, oh, I just want to talk about moving to Seattle. But then when I started to unpack how I got here, I started to unpack a lot of emotional trauma that I had that I did not realize that I was trying to unpack.
There was a mean
And
scavenger.
so, yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot.
Yeah,
But, being able to say that, look, I need help, or because I'm not that independent where I say, look, I got this. I'll quickly
mhm.
tell people, no,
Yeah. I'm the opposite.
no.
I know it's not good. I'm the complete opposite. I will, I will flounder. I will drown. It's not good. We're working on it. Don't worry. Me and my people are working on it. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at saying no. Part of it is because I'm not good with saying no, and so
Hmm.
me not being good with saying no, I don't want people to feel burdened to help me. So I'm just like, I don't want anybody to worry. So I'll just keep everything where I can just sort of keep it personal and figure it out on my own because I don't want people to worry about me. Even if it's something
Hmm.
like, oh yeah, um, help me with this recipe. I don't want my mom to worry about me. Better about that now. I'll harass her for recipes. But
Is this vanilla or is it
right,
sugar? Like, what am I supposed to add in here?
give me a hint. But yeah, that was. Ooh, I can't even remember what the phone call was like at first. Can't remember if you like texted me or something. You were like, "Hey, do you have time to talk?" Or if you just called me out of the blue.
No, I've learned to text you because the last couple of weeks you have been involved in other things. So I've learned to text you first and then
Yeah, it's
wait
been
for you to
a
call.
busy couple of weeks since you moved to Seattle. Whenever you call, I try to pick up right when you do. Right when you call, I try to pick up
Hmm.
like right away. But yeah, it has been a busy couple of weeks for us too, for me.
Yeah.
So
That's why I'm just like, let me text. I don't know if his life is still busy, but
nope.
I need you to be present in this moment with me because what just happened? I don't know how I got here.
Like, how am I here? Why am I sobbing
I
in front of a
literally just wanted
microphone?
to
What's
talk
going on?
about Seattle and how amazing it is. And somehow it led to me talking about other things that I didn't mean to bring up, but somehow it led to that. But having a person here who's going to like, let's guide the conversation
Let's
back this
rein it in.
way.
Rein it in.
We don't have to be that vulnerable right off the bat.
Yeah, you can't just dive straight into just like deep seated like stuff because you will end up like that. I tell students that when they're writing too, because sometimes they're like, "Oh yeah, for my narrative, should I write about this trauma that occurred in my past?" I'm like, "Are you comfortable sharing that, and do you want to relive that?" And so talking them through like,
Yes.
okay, you're gonna have to remember those things and give us detail because the teacher's gonna be looking for details, even if not like super like detailed details, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Like you want to
Enough
show
detail
them
to
the
relive the whole thing. Yeah.
yeah. Um, and it seems like that's what you were doing, where you were doing like a audio essay, and you were like, "Look, I got something to say," and you went completely. I don't think you realized how much that particular issue was impacting the way you were viewing other things,
True.
and that's why it came up when you weren't really planning for it to come up.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, Jason, let's chat. Even if you only have an hour, we
Let's
need
talk.
to talk.
And I
We
think
need to record.
that was the day before we ended up recording for like 3 hours or talking for like 3 hours because we
Hmm.
spent at first you were like, yeah, let's record tonight. So we started or we got on here on the app that you use or whatever, and we started with the mindset like, oh, we're gonna record something. But then you started telling me about how you got there, and I just mentally, as soon as you told me what it was specifically that you ended up on, I was like, okay, we're not recording anything tonight. And so at the end of that, you were still like, okay, let's do this. I was like, do you have time to record tomorrow instead? Like, because we can
Yeah,
just,
let's take a break.
you
We need
might
to
need
walk
a few
away.
hours to
Let's walk away from this because yeah, you need to wrap this up. Let's give you some time to
just
breathe.
step away, go eat some ice cream or something, you know?
Yeah, that was a lot,
Yeah.
but it's good to be able to have a support system, and that's why I didn't strategically design my support system, but knowing who I am and knowing being more, it really does come down to self awareness.
Yeah.
Really does come down to self awareness because it really has helped me to um, it really has helped me to identify who is pouring into me as much as I'm pouring into them. It's helped me to identify those who just need my help or those who are trying to manipulate me or take from me without giving. And understanding that has really helped me to bring in those who support me closer while making sure that those who are, and you actually talked about this before, those who are just looking to get something from me,
Yeah.
keeping them a little bit further away
Yeah.
so that they don't have access to try to like burn me.
Yeah. And that's a boundary thing. I know we talk about boundaries basically every time we record, probably dating back to when I switched therapists back in 2019. But yeah, it goes back to boundaries. Like, okay, you can let people into your gate, but you can also usher them out and maybe like put up another perimeter and stuff and put up like
Mm-hmm.
the shot collars if you want to keep them at a distance, right? Like if you notice that you feel a certain way when you're interacting with somebody, or if you feel drained or you've given so much and you feel like you're not getting it back, then that's perfectly fine for you to step back and say, hey, I'm not getting what I need from this interaction. So I'm just going to step back. Love you,
Right.
but from a little bit further away. Down the street neighbors, remember? We
Yes.
talked
Down
about
the
that last
street.
week.
Sometimes around the corner. Sometimes we got to change zip codes, but
Time
you're.
zones.
But just understand, you're not an enemy. You just can't be in my inner circle.
Right.
You can't be in my circle. Not even the inner circle. You can't be in the circle at all.
And that's fine. You're in my
Yeah.
periphery.
Yeah.
Peripheral
But you're
vision.
not an enemy. So
Not at all. We
take
have
that
not
as you will.
armed the troops. We have not mobilized anyone against you. You're just at the borders.
Yeah. That's that's all it is. And it's okay.
That
That's
is
okay.
perfectly
You do not have to
fine.
be friends. I think people, especially with social media, people want to be friends with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to be friends. We could be associates, acquaintances. There's so
Mm-hmm.
many other things. I don't need to know the intricacies of your life. You don't have to know the intricacies of mine. You don't have to be there for every valley and mountain moment. Even if you just check in, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? Great. Okay.
That's good.
You're gone again. It's fine.
That's good. I
But
like
just
checking in
because
on
we
people.
aren't friends doesn't mean we're enemies. Like it's okay.
I think a lot of
This
people have like it's hard for people. I was actually just talking with someone about that. How it's hard for people to move on from friends because as a society, I don't think that we're taught to grieve the losses of friendships the same way we're
mm,
taught to grieve like death and divorce and breakups and stuff. It's just like friends kind of trail off, and so like they grow up, they move on, which is completely natural. But we're taught like, oh, BFF, best friends forever. You have to
right.
be friends since middle school, since elementary school. Yeah, we have those friends and stuff, but also some friends sort of they go through different stages in life, so it just sort of transitions where the dynamic is different. There's a sense of nostalgia thinking about it, but it doesn't have to be this terrible thing where it's like, oh, did y'all have a falling out or something, or is there
Right.
something wrong with it? It's perfectly fine to just sort of taper off and catch up later on and
Yeah.
let
We
people
grew
live their
apart.
lives. Yeah,
Yeah. It's fine. But some people think that, oh, y'all used to be BFFs. Yeah, when we lived next to each other and we
yeah,
had
it
the
was.
time, like our jobs allowed us to. But
Yeah, it was that sense of convenience, which is
yeah,
always nice with friends. But once you have distance, you sort of see what like is there anything really there between this friendship,
yeah,
right? It's like if you're going to college with people too, like same thing, same exact thing. Even though I live in the same city as a lot of people that I went to Sac State with when I was an
hmm
undergrad, um, I don't meet up with them. It's literally like, okay, I check in with you. I mean, there's a specific incident that happened where I pulled back from everybody from that group. We'll talk about that some other time. I think I've told you about that. I think I told you about that one. But
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, it's like that showed me it was from a distance thing. When somebody randomly yells the N word at somebody else, I'm like, oh, okay, let me get my cab because Uber and Lyft weren't a thing at that point. Let me
right.
get my cab and go. That's when they became down the street neighbors. I know everybody in that dorm heard it. So I know there was only one of me there.
You're like, I'm not going to be the one that's here.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to head out. I'm good.
If they say that when I'm in the living room, what's happening when I'm not here?
I don't even
But
think I would question that. I would just be,
no,
I'm good.
that was
I'm
literally
good.
like, oh, okay, let me figure out a cab company name. And because it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning at that point.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, one of
Yeah.
those wild nights out. But but yeah, down the street, down the
Yeah.
street. Even though we're still in the same city, I remember birthdays. That's one of my toxic traits. Is like if you mention your birthday to me once, I will remember it to a fault, and I'll honestly, sorry, it's sort of creepy. I'll text people on their birthdays and be like, "Hey, you mentioned this one time it was your birthday." But yeah, like I'll check in on them. Like, okay, I'll send you a birthday text or whatever, just to let you know, like, yeah, you're still not that specific person, but yeah, you're still your friend. You contributed something to my life at some point, so let's catch up, and then keep it pushing after that.
Yeah. I mean,
Check in.
I don't think there's, I stopped doing that. I stopped wishing people happy birthday
Yeah,
when, like, via text.
I know you do.
I stopped doing that after I realized it was 2 years in a row that I wished somebody else. The only person who I do that to is a high school friend named Amici.
Mm-hmm.
Amici is, I met her, actually, was it middle school or elementary school? I met her. We didn't go to school together until middle school. That's right. Because she went to Hannah Ranch. I went to Lupine Hills. This was Hercules Elementary at the time. But I remember her birthday, and for some reason, every year I still text her happy birthday, and she texts me happy birthday on my birthday. And we rarely talk
That's the
at
only
all.
thing.
Yes, it's her. Oh, sorry, it's her and Felicia. Felicia is
Mm-hmm.
another friend that I met in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and um, she'll text me. I'll text her on her birthday, and then we'll talk for a few weeks after her birthday. And then those are the only two people who I'm just like, we're not close like that, but I'll still text them. Everybody
Yeah,
else, they don't really get a text. If I happen to be on Facebook on your birthday, I might wish you a happy
yeah.
birthday. Or if I
There's
see Instagram that's like, oh, this is my birthday, happy
Yeah, I'll
birthday.
comment. There's let me see. Wait, let me not name names. Well, no, I will. Christina, Caroline, those two, I text them on their birthdays or DM them or something on their birthdays, and we always catch up. And
Hmm.
then there's like my roommate that lived with me. I think like a few years ago, I texted like maybe twice in a row. The first year, I was like, okay, no response. Strange. And then the second year, I was like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. And I just like stopped. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, no, this is
cross that
done.
out. That's done.
This
Like
is
it's
done.
not even a petty type thing, but I use that as an opportunity to show like, okay, like I said, you contributed something to my life at some point. I know this day is important to you. Let's catch up on this day and then keep it pushing.
Right.
If you don't reciprocate that, or at least just reply to like, thank you, and then just say like, how are you, that kind of thing, then that shows me like, okay, that's fine. You have other stuff going on. I'll move further down the street,
Right.
and
It's no
it's
harm, no
perfectly
foul.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, at least it's in my brain. I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Again, it's a boundary thing.
Yes.
Um, that's one type of boundary that I didn't know I was consciously setting what is called a boundary, but I sort of, I'm good at cutting people off if they show me who they are. I'll give them like 2 times, and then the second time, I'm like, okay, that's enough for me.
Right.
This clearly is how you operate. That's fine. You can operate like that over there. It's not for me. Um, I've always been really good with that, like dating back to elementary school, of just like kind of shutting people out if if I don't agree with
Well, it's hard.
how they're treating me.
I would say that it wasn't hard to get to know you, but I think it only made it difficult because you were hard to spend time with.
Yeah,
In that you were like,
I don't make myself
hey,
available.
I'm here for the project and that's it. I'm like,
Yeah,
you don't want to go and get food? Hey, did he
no.
leave already? What's
Jason
going
didn't eat. Jason didn't eat in restaurants in 2008.
on?
Jason
Just
was
like,
still socially anxious to that degree in 2008.
yeah, it
Yeah,
like it wasn't that's the thing. Once we actually spent time together and got to know each other, like things were fine.
it
But
was
I think that
just
it was
going.
just the actual first semester of just like, hey, so the project is almost done. Do you want to?
No, like I have to go home and edit. I have to
Where
edit
did
it. So,
where did Jason? He was just here, right? Was
hmm
that he was here? Where did he go?
hmm
Okay, cool. All right.
yeah, that's one thing. Like I don't. The boundary is high. It's a high wall with barbed wire. We're knocking it down. It's
But
actually
barbed
being,
wire.
yeah, barbed wire. Yeah, it's roses and stuff at the beginning. That's the representative,
Mm-hmm.
and then it gets a little treacherous halfway up, and then barbed wire. Once you get past the barbed wire, once Jason is open to you and stuff, you're in. Like once, like I'm not saying like I'm somebody that oh everybody wants to be my friend and stuff. It's just based on prior experiences. I'm extremely guarded.
Yeah.
Um, Based on like childhood experiences and stuff. I'm extremely careful about who I let in my space. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I've talked before about on here about being like I'm an empath and stuff. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sounds corny. People, everybody says it. I'm extremely sensitive. So if I can tell that somebody has like a really heavy mood or something, then the first time I'm like I can contribute it or attribute it to bad day or something. Second time it wears on me, and so I'm like, okay, I know I don't need this energy around me. Your energy was always good. That's why, like, even when you ended up at Sac State with me, I would honestly, I would sort of complain like, oh, why does she want to hang out so much? Not even gonna lie.
You did. You told
Yes,
me. You told me to my face.
yes. Like I can't. I told you
Just
like I can't. And normally I don't tell people that either.
you're just like, look, I can we not today?
Like I
Just
need some time. I need some space.
it's just like, but I'm here. I'm on campus. Like I'm a
Yeah,
commuter, and you were just like,
I
I
know.
know.
But like that's crazy. Is the union open? I know. Okay.
It just as much as it made sense for you to like put that boundary up, like, look, I need some time to recoup because you're a lot. Like, I was just like, what do you mean? We get
Yeah.
along. Like, I'm getting a bike. We should hang out.
And
Let's go
that's the
on
thing.
walks.
It wasn't even you specifically. It was that when I lived at the dorm, it was always something. It was like there were always energies. It was my first time living with someone too, with someone that wasn't family,
Right.
and so there were a lot of energies. Now that I can think about it in retrospect, there were a lot of energies that were like there were racist people in the dorm and stuff. I was like actively seeking black people in the dorm because there was a group of black girls who lived next door to us, and
Mm-hmm.
then I think there was maybe one other black guy who lived like on the other side of the building or something. So that was energy that was weird and heavy. Plus, I had my food stuff where I don't like eating around people and stuff, and so I had really weird food habits because people pay attention to what I eat. Like, well, they pay attention to what other people eat. Basically,
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, wow, you eat that? Oh, wow, you eat that like that? Again, I'm very sensitive. I know small things. Most people let roll off of them. Stick with
These are the things that matter to me.
them. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I apologize for that.
No, you don't have
Honestly,
to.
because I
It
can
just
remember a turning point for me in our friendship was when you showed up at the dorm on a Saturday morning after I had gone to the bar. You didn't know I went to the bar. You didn't know that because
no.
it wasn't like I didn't like put it around everywhere. But I went to the bar. I think it was probably the first or second time I had a hangover because oh, Jason lives in the dorm. I'm gonna start drinking. Um, and you knocked on the door, and I think I don't know if my roommate answered or if I answered. No, you texted me. You said I'm outside. I
Wait, this was
think
at the was I at the dorm? This was at the dorm or was this off campus?
no, this was at the dorm when I was in ARC. I think you texted me when you were downstairs outside the building or something, or you knocked on my door, and I ended up walking with you around campus. Oh crap, I'll call her back. Sorry. Um, I ended up walking around campus with you and stuff, and I was like, hmm.
It was okay, so we had a debate tournament and I had got to campus early.
Oh,
And I texted you because I was at campus and I wanted to see if you were on campus. Yes, because I was like, I've never knocked on your door that when you were on campus. I've never been upstairs. You're on mute.
I can't remember. Yeah, you didn't knock on the door. Oh, actually, that was somebody else that did that. Yeah, that was somebody
Yeah.
else. You texted when you were on campus or something,
Yes.
and that's when Jason didn't say no too much.
Yeah.
Try to make an excuse and stuff.
We
Still, I
did. We did
apologize.
have a solemn walk around campus.
Yeah,
I was
walk
excited
with me.
because of the debate tournament, and you were just like, okay,
I
yeah,
was
uh
hungover.
huh, sure,
I was
yeah,
hungover. I
uh
don't
huh.
say that often either, but because I don't drink anymore at this point, at this juncture in my life. But
Where I am.
yeah, we I didn't know we went through so much as friends, Leah, but we saw it through.
I'm glad we are where we are today.
It's good though because we have a really good understanding. I would say like maybe you, Brittany, Jordan. Those are like the people that are in. Well, yeah, you, Brittany, and Jordan, and my mom, of course. Those are the people like you guys have a good understanding of my stuff that I deal with and how I
Hmm.
process things and letting me have time and stuff with stuff. And so it's easier to say like to agree to things with you guys and stuff, or agree to things for you guys and to manage stuff with you guys because I know you none of y'all take it personally. Like if I'm just like
Yeah,
hidden in my room and stuff after work, Jordan
I mean,
stuff.
after 3 days, there's a 3 day limit.
Yeah, like I
There's a
don't
three
like
day limit.
stay in my room, but like I'll pull out this puzzle that I've been working on for 3 weeks, and if I close my door and turn on music and stuff, Jordan knows like okay, it's not personal. It's just I have to recharge. That's how I recharge now. So
Right.
I appreciate that. Ooh, I'm about to call
Yeah.
somebody myself. Sorry. Okay, hit the
Well,
buttons.
thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Take a Space Podcast. I am your host, Leah, and joined by Jason. Jason, do you have anything you would like to plug?
I do. So Twitter, Instagram, apparently TikTok, right?
Yes, TikTok.
JJ underscore Newberry. Yes, I looked to the side again. JJ underscore Newberry. Basically all the socials. Or try a
All the
variant.
socials.
JJ Newberry without the underscore for Visco. You'll find me. My face is there.
Okay.
So check me out.
Y'all make sure to go follow Jason. Thank you so much, Jason, for this conversation. Hyper independence and actually learning your friend circle, knowing who you are, and self awareness, all great things. Not hyper independence, but self awareness about your hyper independence. That
And
is
why you're
something
being
good to
independent.
know.
Why you think you're being independent. Like, what are
Right.
your motivations behind being independent? Is it because it's expected of you, or is it because it's what you want to do? So, what are your motivations, basically?
That's a good question to ask. Let us know what your motivations are in the comments. I would love to hear it. But thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you follow Take Up Space Pod, Take Up Space POD on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And we are on TikTok at Champions of Discourse. I have a lot more content, hopefully, that's
She's
coming out for Champions of Discourse.
she's posting a
So
lot on TikTok and Reels and stuff. I'm seeing it. She's writing on windows and stuff. Go watch the window writer.
for writing on windows as a whiteboard, like I have to get more expo markers, but it is so much better for me as opposed to the whiteboard.
I wrote on a mirror once with a whiteboard marker and it didn't wipe off. So I have like,
Oh,
yeah, apparently it wasn't a whiteboard marker. I
no,
just
it
read
doesn't
it wrong.
sound like it
No,
was a whiteboard
it
marker
came off.
because okay.
It came off a little bit.
I'm gonna get chalk markers because those are nicer and they come out darker.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chalk markers. But
Go,
yes.
Katie. Happy graduation, Katie. Those remind me of cars. Sorry. Like, you know, when people write on the car windows?
Yes. All right. Thank you all so much. You all have a great one. Please make sure that you follow, subscribe, and all the good stuff, especially on our YouTube. Take a Six Pod. Just type that in and you'll be able to find us. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.